Welcome to Industry 9. In this video, we'll walk you through the full service process for our Hydra2 hubs, from basic maintenance to disassembly and reassembly. For basic maintenance, begin by taking the wheel off your bike. For Hydra2, there's no need to remove the cassette. The Hydra2 system allows you to pull the Freehub body and cassette off as one piece, and it can easily be reinstalled as well. To remove the Freehub, simply grab the outside edges of the cassette and pull firmly straight off the axle. Once the Freehub is removed, you will want to remove the external Freehub spacer that is sitting on the axle. Make note that the larger side faces towards the hub shell. Now with the Freehub and spacer removed, wipe off any excess dirt and grease you find in the driving area, as well as the Freehub, pawls, and Freehub spacer. With the axle exposed, check for any play and make sure the bearings turn smoothly. Some amount of drag in the axle is normal with the Freehub removed. Pull the disc side end cap and seal and wipe away any old grease and debris. The end caps are held in place by an internal O-ring and should pull off by hand. If needed, use soft jaw pliers or regular pliers with a protective rag to prevent marring. Remove the lip seals from the hub shell using a pick or small flathead. Clean off any excess dirt or grime. For basic maintenance of the Freehub, we will leave all pawls and springs in place. Simply wipe away any excess grease and debris found on the pawls and Freehub. Once clean, it's time to grease behind the pawl using Dumont Freehub grease. The grease gun is ideal, but you can use your finger for this purpose if you do not have a grease gun. With the pawls greased, you're ready to lubricate the Freehub seal. Use Dumont Freehub oil and run a bead along the outer edge of the seal. If you want your Freehub to be as quiet as possible, you can do so by lubricating the drive ring. Simply put a small amount of Freehub grease on the drive ring and spread it around evenly. Apply a thin film of grease to the axle to ensure a smooth installation of the Freehub. After applying grease, place the tapered external Freehub spacer over the axle. Note that the larger side faces towards the hub shell. Make sure the cylindrical spacer inside the Freehub is centered. Then carefully slide the Freehub over the axle and onto the drive side of the hub shell. Once the Freehub makes contact with the seal, gently spin the Freehub counterclockwise until the pawls drop inside the seal. Now with the pawls against the drive ring, spin the Freehub counterclockwise again to completely seat the Freehub in the hub and the drive ring. Before installing seals and end caps, apply a thin film of marine grade or waterproof grease to the face of each bearing. Next, install the seal with a lip facing out and press firmly to ensure it's fully seated. Then apply a thin layer of grease to the inner face of the seal. Apply a thin film of grease to the O-ring on the inside of the end cap. Now press on the end caps to finish reassembly. With the bearings checked and basic maintenance complete, you're ready to get back on the trail. Now to begin the full service of your Hydra2 hubs, including bearing replacement, you'll first need to remove both the cassette and the rotor. To begin the rear hub disassembly, first remove the end caps. These are held in place by an internal O-ring and should pull off by hand. If needed, use pliers with a soft jaw or regular pliers with a protective rag to prevent marring. Next, remove the lip seals from the hub shell and Freehub body using a pick or small flathead. Please note that the microspline Freehub does not have a seal on the drive side. Remove the Freehub body by rotating it counterclockwise while gently pulling outward. Once the Freehub is removed, you will also want to remove the external Freehub spacer that is on the axle. Make note that the larger side faces towards the hub shell. With the end caps, seals, and Freehub removed, use a rubber mallet to tap the axle out from the drive side. This will push out the non-drive side bearing. Make sure to locate the axle washer at this time. It should sit on the drive side of the axle, but it can stick to the back side of the drive side hub shell bearing during removal. Reinsert the axle from the non-drive side and use it to knock out the drive side bearing. To reassemble your Hydra2 rear hub, start by thoroughly cleaning both bearing bores, the drive ring area, end caps, seals, and the axle. Once clean, apply a thin, even film of grease to the inside of both bores. For the installation of the bearings in the rear hub shell, you'll need the TTL2 and the TTL6 bearing press tools. When reassembling the rear hub, make sure to press in the drive side bearing first to properly set the preload. Always install the bearings with the gray seal facing out. These steps are essential for smooth bearing installation and long-term durability. Using the bearing press, install the drive side bearing into the drive side of the hub shell. Make sure the bearing is aligned squarely to avoid any damage during installation. Before reinserting the axle into the hub shell, apply a thin film of grease to the axle's shoulder. Next, reinstall the axle washer. Note the washer must be installed in the correct orientation, as shown. Insert the axle through the hub from the non-drive side. Making sure the gray seal of the bearing is facing outward, stage the bearing over the non-drive side of the axle. Next, stage the press with the gold TTL2 over the axle and the green TTL6 against the non-drive side bearing. Gently press in the non-drive side bearing. This will secure the axle, which is now held in place by both bearings. Once both bearings are installed, confirm they are fully seated. The axle should spin smoothly with no play. Note that some amount of drag is normal and goes away once the hub is preloaded in your frame. To service the Freehub, remove the retaining clip from the inner face. Take note of the pawl and spring orientation. The teeth of the pawl face outwards. Next, the pawls can be slid out of their pocket by gently lifting from underneath the pawl using your fingernail. To remove the springs, rotate them outwards so that the edge of the spring is exposed, and lift them out in a similar manner to the pawls. Use a rag to clean the pawl pockets. Most service intervals won't require seal replacement, but if needed, gently lift the Freehub seal from the hub shell using a small flathead screwdriver. Replace the seal if it shows damage, ensuring the sealing lip faces outward. Press firmly around the edge to seat it evenly. You're ready to lubricate the Freehub seal. Use Dumont-Tech Freehub oil and run a bead along the outer edge of the seal. If you want your Freehub to be as quiet as possible, you can do so by lubricating the drive ring. Simply put a small amount of Freehub grease on the drive ring and spread it around evenly. To remove the Freehub bearings, shift the internal Freehub spacer to one side to expose the bearings in a race. Use a punch to carefully remove the outboard bearing first. Work your way around the bearing with a punch to ensure the bearing comes out evenly. Once the outer bearing is removed, take out the ribbed internal Freehub spacer and flip the Freehub over. Now use the punch to remove the inner bearing in the same manner as the outer bearing. Again, take care to drive the bearing out evenly. Now that the Freehub is completely disassembled, use a rag to clean the Freehub body, springs, and pawls. For Freehub assembly, you'll need 2 HTL2 Freehub press tools, or for microspline, you'll need 1 HTL2 and 1 HTL3. Before reassembly, apply a light film of grease to each bearing bore. Start by placing the double row bearing into the inner bearing bore of the Freehub body. This bearing has no seal orientation. Next, place the smaller side of the HTL2 tool into the bearing bore and stage it on the press. Then, stage the other HTL2 tool, or HTL3 for microspline, onto the Freehub with the smaller side facing outward. Now with everything staged, press the inner bearing until fully seated. For the outer Freehub bearing, place the HTL2 or HTL3 for microspline onto the press with the smaller side facing away from the handle. Next, slide the outer bearing onto the tool so that the gray seal faces away from the freehub. Then, slide the ribbed internal freehub spacer onto the small end of the tool. This ensures the spacer stays aligned during installation. Stage the freehub body on the press, followed by the other HTL2, with the flat end sitting against the inner bearing. With everything staged, press the outer bearing into the freehub until fully seated. Before reinstalling the springs and pawls, first start by putting a drop of Dumontech Freehub oil in every pawl pocket. Next, reinstall the pawl springs, making sure the springs curve outwards. Then use a small flathead or your finger to compress each spring while dropping in the pawls. Make sure all pawls and springs are oriented correctly, fully seated, and that all pawls move freely in the pocket with no binding or sticking. Finish by reinstalling the retaining clip to secure the pawls and springs. Make sure the clip fully covers all 6 pawls. With the freehub fully assembled, grease behind all 6 pawls using Dumontech Freehub grease. A grease gun is ideal, but you can use your finger for this purpose if you do not have a grease gun. Apply a thin film of grease to the axle to ensure a smooth installation of the freehub. After applying grease, place the tapered external freehub spacer over the axle. Note that the larger side faces towards the hub shell. Make sure the cylindrical spacer inside the freehub is centered, and carefully slide the freehub over the axle and onto the drive side of the hub shell. Once the freehub makes contact with the seal, gently spin the freehub counterclockwise until the pawls drop inside the seal. Now with the pawls against the drive ring, spin the freehub counterclockwise again to completely seat the freehub in the hub and the drive ring. Before installing seals and end caps, apply a thin film of marine grade or waterproof grease to the face of each bearing. Next, install the seal with a lip facing out and press firmly to ensure it's fully seated. Note, microspline freehubs do not use a seal on the drive side. Apply a thin layer of grease to the inner face of the seal. Next, you will repeat these same steps for the seal on the non-drive side. Apply a thin film of grease to the O-ring on the inside of each end cap. Now press on the end caps to finish reassembly. Reinstall your cassette and rotor, and your Hydra2 rear hub service is now complete. Now that we've taken care of the rear hub assembly, let's move on to the front hub. Front hub service is similar to the rear. Start disassembly by removing the end caps. These are held in place by an internal O-ring and should pull off by hand. If needed, use soft jaw pliers or regular pliers with a protective rag to prevent marring. Once the end caps are removed, use a small flathead screwdriver to remove the seals housed in the hub shell. Whether you have a 15 or a 20 mm front hub shell will determine what tools you need next. We're servicing a 15 mm hub and we'll be using the green HTL13 axle drift for disassembly. With both end caps and seals removed, you can now take out the bearings. Place the axle drift into either side of the axle and tap it with a mallet to dislodge the opposing bearing. The axle's internal shoulders will contact the inner race and drive the bearing out of the hub shell. Reinsert the axle and drift through the opposite side and repeat to remove the opposing bearing. Alternatively, a blind bearing puller or careful use of a punch will work also. Now with both bearings and the axle removed, use a clean rag to clean out the bearing bores and wipe down the axle. With everything apart, clean the end caps and seals as well. Before installing the bearings, begin by applying a light film of grease to the inside of each clean bearing bore. Start by placing the non-drive side bearing into the hub shell, making sure the gray seal is facing outwards. The non-drive side bearing must be installed first to ensure correct bearing preload. Align one TTL6 press tool with a bearing, and place the other within the drive side bearing bore. With the tool staged, press the non-drive side bearing until fully seated. With the non-drive side bearing fully seated, insert the axle from the drive side. Now stage the drive side bearing, again with the gray seal facing out. Repeat the same process, now pressing in the drive side bearing over the axle. The axle is now captured between the two bearings. Before installing seals and end caps, apply a thin film of marine grade or waterproof grease to the face of each bearing. Install the seals with the lip facing out and press firmly to ensure they're fully seated. Then, apply a thin layer of grease to the inner face of the seal. And repeat these steps for the seal on the drive side as well. Lastly, apply a thin film of grease to both the drive and non-drive side end caps before reinstallation. Reinstall your front rotor, and you're ready to put the front wheel back on your bike. That's it. Your Hydra2 hubs are now fully serviced. For more support, give us a call, visit the support page on our website, or email us at ridersupport@industry9.com.